Hi, welcome to Running on Carbs podcast. This is episode number 7, and I am your host, Coach Val. I want to welcome you today to this very special episode. I am just hot off the heels of the RRCA convention. That's the Roadrunners Club of America, which is where one of my run coaching certifications is through. And they had their 66th convention this year in Costa Mesa. And while I was there, we were treated to a number of, there were a number of things happening, but we were treated to a number of educational sessions over 3 days. And some people were taking the level 1 certification, which is what I already have. Others were taking the level 2 certification, which is just a little bit different information for the level 2 certification. I knew a couple of people or met a couple of people who were doing that during the convention this year. And it got me thinking about this topic regarding attending special events when you are a plant-based athlete. And so I put together 5 tips for how to attend special events when you are a plant-based athlete and still enjoy yourself. So I'm going to go into those shortly, but before I do, I wanted to announce a new program that I have going that I hope that you will partake in. In order to help this podcast grow, as some of you may or may not know, the key to the game is fantastic reviews. And I would love to hear from you what you think of this podcast now that we are on episode number 7. And if you are enjoying the podcast and you're getting a lot out of it, the best thing that you can do to help it grow and to help give me feedback is to write a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. And if you were to do that, I would like to give you a great big thank you by entering your name into a drawing for the end of the month to receive an 8-week training plan, run training plan for wherever you are in your training. So you can use this 8-week plan to build your base mileage, maybe in an off season, or if you have a 5K coming up, it would be a perfect amount of time to put together a plan for you to do a fast 5K or a first 5K or maybe an intermediate 5K. But I'd love to put that together for you as a thank you for writing a wonderful 5-star review. The best way to enter is to take a screenshot of the episode that you're listening to, any episode, and share it on Instagram and tag running.on.carbs on Instagram with your photo, and then send me a DM on Instagram and let me know that you've put that out there. That would be fantastic. And I will enter you into the drawing for the 8-week plan. And then when I will announce the plan or the winner will be in the first episode of the following month. So for May, I will gather any names of individuals that have put together reviews. And then on the first episode in June, I will announce the winner of that 8-week plan. So please write your 5-star review, tag me on Instagram, and let's get the word out so that we can help other plant-based masters athletes to find the show and get the information that they might need also. So thank you in advance for that, and looking forward to honoring that winner. Okay, so let's jump into the episode. Tip number 1. So I'm going to go through 5 tips for plant-based athletes attending special events. The first tip is plan ahead. Look at me, I'm saying it again. Planning. Planning is always so key and important to good nutrition or to your running or to any fitness goals that you might have. Planning is key. So if you have the option, plan ahead and request a vegan meal. That's the easiest way. Going back to the RRCA convention this weekend, I had registered for it so long ago that I had completely forgotten that they asked for your meal preference. And apparently, I had selected vegan meals, of course. But I fully did not expect this event to have any meals for me, just based on past experience when I've attended work events and things. So it was held at a hotel, and sometimes at hotels, they do have a vegan option, but very often it's more of a vegetarian option. So there might be butter or egg in the meal. And as a vegan or purely plant based athlete, you aren't eating those things, anything that came from an animal source. So, anyway, I was pleasantly surprised to find that I did have vegan options at any of the sit down meals at this event. However, that did not include a couple of meetings where all they had were like a buffet style meal, or I think that there was a business meeting where they just had pastries and such. So I ended up eating breakfast in my hotel room. I just brought some cereal and almond milk, and it honestly was so much easier for me. So you can listen to episode 5 if you want some travel hack tips on how to travel as a plant-based athlete. But on this podcast today, I really want to just talk about planning ahead and taking whatever meals that might be prepared for your event. So in this case, plan ahead and request a vegan meal if you have that option. There's no need to be apologetic. This is your health, it's the way you eat, and you have every right to expect that at a restaurant that has this option available that you can make that request. You don't have to apologize for being who you are and taking care of your health. So request that vegan meal. All right, so tip number 2, eat a snack before you go, if this is an option for you. So, for example, if you are attending a wedding or some sort of evening event or daytime event, somewhere where you're just going to go, enjoy the event, and then go home, just have a snack before you go. If you really have no idea what kind of food is going to be at the event and you don't want to be, starving when you are there and you want to actually enjoy the event and the reason and purpose that you're going. Usually, when you're attending these types of events, you're not going there for the food necessarily. You're going there for whatever the purpose of the event is, like to, watch a family member or friend get married, or you're going to a work function where there's a educational conference or something that you want the information from. So you're going there for other purposes, or maybe it's a big work social gathering. So you're going there to socialize and network with your peers. Those are the important things about the event, not necessarily what they're putting on the plate. So eat something before you go, and if there isn't anything available, then at least you've had some nourishment, so you have some energy, and you can enjoy the event and the purpose and reason that you're there. Um, if it's going to be a longer event, tuck something away. So, bring a snack bar or maybe some nuts or some dried fruit, something like that. I never leave the house without some sort of nourishment or food on me. I always have 1 or 2 snack bars because I don't know, I'm always worried that there might be somebody else there who might need one also. So I always like to bring 2 with different flavors. So if I'm ever with you at an event and you're really hungry and I'm there, and you don't have anything, because maybe you missed the whole episode this time, or you ate your snack, come to me and I will probably have a snack bar in my purse that I would gladly give you. So always have a snack bar with you. It's just no fun to be hangry. I don't know about you, but I get really hangry and I lose all my energy. And then I just can't focus on the reason that I'm at this event in the first place. And I don't know, when I get hungry, my mind just goes blank and fuzzy. And all I can think about is that I want out of here and I need nourishment. And I really don't care what you're all saying because I'm way too hungry to think. So I don't know, maybe I get low blood sugar or something, but it really affects me. So I can tell you that snacks are really important to me. And if they're really important to you, always keep them on hand. Okay, so tip number three, don't expect dessert. Sorry. Every once in a while, though, you are surprised um, and you will get a dessert. I was actually very surprised at the RRCA convention this weekend. I got a dessert 2 times. I was so excited. I am such a dessert person. And a fruit cup is typically what you get. So, usually, when you go to these events, you get a beautiful dinner because oftentimes, if you are able to order a vegan meal, they'll give you a beautiful dinner. And then when it comes to dessert, they'll put like cheesecake down next to you at the person's plate next to you that was having the steak or something or the chicken. And then they come up to you and they see your vegan tag and they stick a little cup of fruit in front of you. Oh, it's the worst. But don't I don't know what to say about that. It just makes me so annoyed because vegan desserts are probably one of the easiest things to make, and once you're vegan, you know that. And it's so easy. Like this weekend, I had a little beautiful apple tart. It had a crumb crust on the top and like a pastry shell and apples and cinnamon, baked inside. It was delicious, and it probably super simple. It probably was easier than the piece of cake that they gave to the person sitting next to me, and honestly, I think I'd rather have the apple tart that they gave to me. So, anyway, sometimes you luck out and you get a great, dessert, but don't be too disappointed, and don't expect dessert, unfortunately, at a lot of these types of events. But that's okay. You know what you do? Is you leave the event when you're done and you stop by the vegan donut shop and you get a vegan donut. That's what I usually do. Or you go to the frozen yogurt place and you get the non-dairy frozen yogurt or something like that. Um, I don't think I've ever done the frozen yogurt one, but I know that they have them in lots of places. But you go find your favorite dessert somewhere else and you just get it later. And it's not the end of the world. It's not your last meal. It's what I always tell myself whenever I get a bad meal, or if my husband gets a bad meal somewhere, what I try to say to him or to myself if it's, not great or something went wrong, is I just say, yeah, it's not your last meal. You get another one. So that one wasn't great. Admit it. I do admit it. But the next one will be better. So, you know, it's not the end of the world. Don't let it bother you too much. Let it roll off your shoulders and get a better meal next time and or treat yourself later. So that's what I think is just let it go and get a treat later. Okay. So, you know what else you could do is put a couple of pieces of dark chocolate or maybe some sort of treat. Like if you have your purse with you and there's room, maybe if it's not too formal of an event and you don't have one of those tiny little clutches. But even if you do have a little clutch, you can put a couple pieces of dark chocolate in your purse, like wrapped up, not just in your purse loose, and have that just in case. So if you're kind of like me, where you like to have a little sweet something at the end of the meal, I mean, for me, it doesn't have to be a lot. It can just be a little dark chocolate square, and I'm good. It's just that flavor that I have sort of ingrained in me from childhood of having a dessert. But even that is enough. And so if I have that, that'll just tide me over and make me feel good. And I might not even need the vegan donut later. You just have your dark chocolate, you got it with you, and there you go. So if there isn't a dessert, at least you have a little something sweet. So if you're a dessert lover like me, there's a little tip you can at least bring something along with you. Okay, so tip number four. I kind of already had said this, but I jumped ahead. It's not your last meal. It's, not your favorite thing in the world, but that's okay. You'll get other ones. Um, and then you can treat yourself later. So I guess I just jumped ahead on number four and I combined it with number three. Um, but they kind of go together. So that's okay. Okay, so tip number five then. Tip number five, prepare for temptation. At the convention when they set that cheesecake or cake or whatever it was chocolate, it looked great, next to me at the person's plate next to me. That could have been very tempting for someone who maybe is newer to the plant-based lifestyle or to someone who didn't have another option, who hadn't brought the chocolate with them, who maybe has strong cravings. If you know you're one of these individuals and you get really strong cravings, then it's very important to prepare for that temptation. And so this is where having that small piece of chocolate or that some sort of treat on hand for you. Maybe your snack bar has some protein and also some sweetness to it that will satisfy you and hold you over. Then that could be very helpful. I also have a mantra that I always have prepared, that I have as I live by it, actually. So whenever there's food around me that I don't want to eat, but maybe at one point in my life was a temptation, so maybe there was a dessert that I loved or a food that I used to enjoy, that is not veganized and, is just has a bunch of dairy and such within it. Not a real was never really big on meat, so that's not a big temptation for me, but it might be for you. So whatever it is that's tempting to you, to have a strong mantra in your arsenal tool belt, to prepare you and to hold you strong is very important. For me, my mantra is that's not food. And I use that. And sometimes I forget and I use it out loud with other people. So, I remember a Thanksgiving at work. They had a potluck at work, and there was something there. I think it was a apple or, not an apple pie, a pumpkin pie, and, someone had asked me about the pumpkin pie, and I said, "No, there's dairy in the pumpkin pie. I'm good, thank you." And, she goes, "Oh my gosh, how do you do that? How do you just say no to these, treats?" Because of course, it was a Thanksgiving, buffet spread, and I said, "Well, it's not food to me. So it's just I don't eat it because that's not food." And she kinda looked at me all weird. But, she's a nice gal, nice woman. And I explained to her that, that's how I see non-vegan or non-plant-based food is to me, that's not food. It's edible, it can sustain you, you can eat it, but to me, in my life, that's not food. It's it's food to other people, but it's not food to me. So I live by my mantra, when necessary, of that's not food. So maybe you can use that. If you think that would help you and work for you, then please adopt that. If you have something that works better for you and you have another mantra that you can use that you will own and absorb and become a part of you, then use that and keep that on hand and use it when necessary. You don't have to tell other people what your mantra is, but you have to have it and own it within yourself. So have a mantra, and have it prepared and prepare for that temptation. And most importantly, when you're attending these events, remember that you are there for a greater purpose. You are not there for the food, you're there for the people. You're there for the people that are getting married, or you're there for the networking and the individuals that you're going to meet for your business, or you're there for the education. Like I was at the RRCA convention, I was there for the education. The food part of it is secondary. I was at all of the food related functions, but when I went to the breakfast, I'd already had cereal, so I was fine. I had this, like, protein cereal, I was stuffed. That stuff is so filling. So, I was fine. I had my protein coffee because I came all prepared, But anyway, I was prepared, but I still got to enjoy the socialization of the breakfast area, or the breakfast meeting, and, but I wasn't tempted by any of the food, and lo and behold, it turns out that breakfast was one of those meals they served vegan, because it was a plated sit down, but I didn't realize it in time. But that's okay because my food was probably better for me than I was going to get at some, hotel restaurant. Even if it is vegan, they still probably prepare it in a lot of oil and and probably with a lot of salt and things that I just didn't really want. I'm still an athlete and so are you. So, you still have to consider what are the ingredients in the food that you're eating, not just is it vegan, is it plant-based or not. It's still important to consider, does this support my overall fueling goals? Does this support my energy? And what I plan to do, later with regard to your exercise and fitness or your training plan, etc. So all of that matters. And although it's just one event, if you are close to a race or an event, that one meal could really matter, especially if it's loaded with sodium or something. You could, I don't know, just it matters. Let's put it that way. We've all done those races or had a run the next day after going out and, eating the wrong foods and then still feeling it the next morning when you're trying to, go out on your 10-mile run, training run or something. So it all matters. I remember it was a sidebar. So I was during the lockdown COVID time, which I hate to talk about, but during that time, Tony Horton used to do these online Facebook plyo days on Wednesdays. And I remember one day at lunch, and that was in the evening. I think he did them like at 5 o'clock or something. And that afternoon, earlier in the day around noon, I had curry. And why I thought having curry on plyo day was a good idea, I will never know, but that was the worst workout I have ever had, like, in my life. Never eat curry and go run or do plyometrics or jump or do anything, of any active level after eating curry. It was it was the worst work. I still remember it. I mean, that was what, 4 years ago, and I still remember how awful I felt. So don't do that. Keep in mind, what are you doing the next day before you go and fill your gullet? All right. So just remember, the gatherings are about the people and why you're there, not about the food. Um, and as you navigate the special events, inevitably they're going to come up. Don't forget about your health and the reason that you're doing this, the reason that you are vegan, the reason that you're plant based, um, is for your health and for your performance and for your longevity. All of the health reasons that you've made this decision, and it takes effort and it takes consistency and dedication to yourself to make sure that you stay on track. And all of those things are so important, and those choices are going to pay off in the immediate and in the long run. So, keeping that in mind during your special occasions, during your special events, the stronger that you can be, the more beneficial it will be to yourself in the long run, and ultimately to those who love you. Those people care about you and need you to take care of yourself so that you can be the best version of you for them. And that's a very important thing to always remember. You matter, and therefore you need to take care of yourself. And the way you do that is through your nutrition and through your activity. So there's my message to you of love. You are certainly capable of navigating all of these events gracefully and successfully, with just a little planning and a little forethought. But I know that you can do that. So those are my 5 tips. I'm going to run past back through them really quickly. So tip 1, plan ahead. Tip 2, eat a snack before you go. Number 3, don't expect dessert. Sorry. Number 4, this isn't your last meal. And number 5, prepare for that inevitable temptation that will come. Okay, so there we are. You have my 5 tips for attending special events as a plant based runner or athlete. I hope that they have been helpful. And that you got something out of this. Please don't forget to write a 5-star review for me on Apple and enter Apple Podcasts and enter that drawing that I will be doing at the beginning of June for any entries in May. So I really appreciate it. And also want to remind you that the Bashful Badass Virtual Run Club waitlist is open. So if you would like to register for that and get on the wait list for that 6-week program, it is available now so that you can get on the wait list, and I will announce more details soon. But I'm really excited about that program because that is our opportunity to get together and to interact in a virtual yet live environment. So there's a combination live virtual run every week for 6 weeks, along with a second Zoom webinar or Zoom meeting as well, where I will answer your plant based questions, talk about your training, see how things are going, what sort of help you might need in your training, and have a happy environment to talk about your training, plant-based lifestyle, and get to know other like-minded women as well in the same group. So that group will be very small. I'm looking for only 6 people to help me grow that program and create it to make it the best program possible. And as a reward and thank you for your assistance and guidance and help in making that program what it is, um, I will be locking in that introductory one-time only price for those first 6 members, and you will keep that price for as long as you want to partake in that program. So that's my thank you to you for participating and helping me grow and make that program, the Bashful Badass Virtual Run Club, a happy event for whoever wants to join and a welcoming place for other women bashful badass runners. So thank you again. And this is Coach Val. I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day and rest of your week. I will see you right here again next week for episode 8. And in the meantime, run your best life on carbs. See you next time.